Welcome back. In the light of the past events and disappearance of Titan sub, today I will present to you most interesting conspiracy theory followed by something even creepier connected to this subject. We will explore what some sources believe could happen to the sub and what if that has happened to anyone else. Please remember, we are only exploring the theories. We are not claiming any misinformation, as everything must be researched with an open mind. Like they always say, whatever mainstream is turning us into, we must drive the other way and search for the truth. Media very often will use a distraction story, redirecting us from the real important events. Although public may never learn a real truth, people came up with some pretty creative theories. And don't call them outrageous, as what would be wilder than actually dive miles under the ocean in a boat controlled by one of these? So here we go. According to various sources, people believe that whatever is above us is also below us, and oceans are also holding much more than we can even understand. The complete depths of the oceans are not really known to people, and the life within it is only discovered till this day in a scale of only 20%. All the rest remains a mystery. So the theory goes that while there is a lot undiscovered under the water, there is also a lot of concealed findings from the majority. People like billionaires may have access to places that we have never heard of. If that is below us or beyond the lands we know, they would be in the elites that can access those passageways or places. There are a lot of projects happening under the sea that resemble those so-called space projects. Why is the sea such an interest to the same organizations that carry on so-called space exploration ventures? Do they tell us to look up while they really working underwater? When it comes to space, they are aiming to achieve successful space travel, although it was never proven to exist or work till this day. They are pushing an idea of intergalactic or interplanetary travel, or even immigration. Elon Musk is speaking on inhabiting Mars at some point in the future, yet they can't break through the firmament above us, and only recently it was claimed that Falcon 9, one of the SpaceX rockets, has punched a temporary hole in the sky. They just announced to the world that they can't get through, but only aware people will catch the message behind it, so doesn't look like they are going anywhere soon. Why do you think they keep throwing those rockets up in the sky, reaching the top of the sky as we know, and not being able to break through, each attempt without a success? So what would be happening below us in the depths of the unknown, covered with the masses of ocean water? They could be trying to reach certain places, however they are not possible to be reached through the space, as they can't get through. So can they get anywhere through under the water? We can only speculate, but from many sources there are reports of places like portals, entries, gates, and even allegedly lands beyond.
I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this Earth?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being.
Some sources claim there are lands past what we know is the map we are being fed all our life, but it may be just a fracture of what we are allowed to know. We know only what we can access through the resources, which are all under control of one and the same group of people, the elites. We would assume that the part of the elite club would be those billionaires, right? So do you believe that group of influential people would randomly jump into safety concerning boat and went ahead on such treacherous trip? This is not the first possible death related to those exploration missions turned thrill seekers. When they were testing space travel, sadly people have lost their life too. In 2014, Virgin Galactic crash killed the pilot. Later in 2021, Glen, Vries, a tech CEO who went on 10-minute space journey with an actor William Shatner, has died unexpectedly in a separate plane crash later. Finally, Virgin Orbit has closed its operations this year after mission failure. While last year we were told on unthinkable missions they were planning to achieve, like a new way people would travel, turned out all being not possible to travel through the space. Some missions under the ocean could be trying to reach places unknown to us. Some of them may even succeed. We will never know their real fate or when those missions do take place.
5 people boarded the Titan, a special submarine. But as they descended, something horrifying occurred. The submarine imploded, resulting in the loss of 5 lives.
We know about the Titan for a reason. Titan contains a lot of clues, although some information may be concealed. If you have been joining the dots for some time, you may find a lot of new tracks of this rabbit hole. And here we have one of them. A co-founder of the OceanGate wants to send 1,000 people to Venus. They are turning our head up to the stars again, and they are doing it so soon after this fatal incident. How in the world a company that had its sub imploded under the water with 6 people on board, including their own CEO, will now send 1,000 people to allegedly so unlivable place like Venus? I will explain to you how. It will be possible only if you would adopt the idea that there are lands beyond, which OceanGate, pay attention to their name, has discovered while diving in the ocean. These lands are named with the names that we know as planets. But these names have already had its place on the maps that exist, and certain people claim they are the more accurate representation of the reality than this. Would you believe this? Or would you believe they are really planning to travel to Venus?
There's an important zone on Venus which is actually surprisingly Earth-like, and that is the clouds, the high clouds, which are occurring at temperatures and pressures that are not that different from Earth's surface.
Guillermo Sohnlein is an active explorer of the oceans, who is also a co-founder of the OceanGate. Now Guillermo plans to create a colony that will live on Venus. He is already looking for those 1,000 people to go along by 2050. The mission is called Humans to Venus. Interestingly, they claim that Venus pressure is resemblance of the same pressure 3,000 feet under the ocean. The life on Venus would be built on a floating city resembling Earth 50 kilometers above the surface of the planet. What I found interesting is the fact that Guillermo is also a founder of an organization called Blue Marble Exploration, which organizes ocean exploration expeditions for the purpose of reaching the limits. This organization is also co-founded by Scott Parazynski, a NASA astronaut and master diver. Who took part in NASA-sponsored expedition into the Lake of Titicaca, another convenient water and space connection. It is almost impossible to have any space-related profession without certain underwater skills and expeditions. It is always somehow connected. For instance, how do astronauts are being trained? They carry all exercises specifically under the water. Does scuba diving and spacewalking require the same set of skills?
Once weighted properly, the astronauts hover in the water as if floating in the weightlessness of space.
Another related organization named Waypaver Foundation is dedicated to create a multi-planet human species through their explorations, especially ocean studies. So what does inspecting bottom of the ocean has to do with creating colonies of multi-planetary humans? And the list of the space and sea-related mission goes on without an end. Yet OceanGate is always mentioned as a partner of those assignments. Now there is something else, something of an entirely different capacity, strangely also connected to the story of the sub-Titan, pointing in the way of some new not discussed yet mysteries, which I will present to you in the next episode. Stay tuned. I will leave you to have a think about this one, and that's it for today. I will see you on the next episode. Take care.